Hi, welcome back to J Talk Sports. I'm your host, Jaydan Price, and I'm joined by Sam Viebrock. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you doing, Jaden?
I'm good, and we got a lot to cover today because we got Clayton State men's soccer games to cover, and then we got Clayton State women's soccer, of course, cross country too, as they walk into their first meet on Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show talking about some Clayton State Lakers soccer, men and women, and some cross country. Like Jaden said, the men's team has been through three matches. They are 1-1-1, so one's wild, and the women's team is 1-1 as well. So looking forward to talking about those matches and also talking about our Laker cross country teams going into play at the UNG XC Classic on Friday and hosted by the University of North Georgia. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah. And for our, the Clayton State men's, they walked in there and they suffered their first loss at Nova Southeastern, which was is good, highly hot pace by Nova. They started off pretty fast, and were able to get a goal. And it was very because they were at 2-0 at the 57th minute. Is that
Yeah,
right?
57th minute of the
Hmm.
match.
And it was good. We had great performance, great teamwork in all. Even though it was unsuccessful, it was great teamwork, great communication from what was read. So they did pretty good, but
Yeah, Nova Southeastern coming into this game was only a 9-win team a year ago. And now, after this game and then after the last game, are sitting in 16th in the country now. They just something about going to Florida with this Laker men's soccer team, playing Tampa, very Nova Southeastern, any of these Florida teams where it's just rough sledding for the Lakers. And yeah, looking forward to their next game. They played a Barry University squad down in Miami that they escaped with a 1-1 tie. In that game, the goalkeeper George Roki had a phenomenal match, making save after save after save. But it really was the unexpected player of Aaron Overmars off of a free kick by Camilo Velez to knock in that goal.
yeah. And, it's very interesting and very he did a lot to come back because they were down a man as they you know received a red card. It was Eric Cruz, so you know it could change the perspective of the game. So
Yeah, and that card was because of a headbutt. It was a violent behavior red card, and Coach Pearson would tell you that it wasn't a red card. But Eric had to set out against Converse, and now he is looking to play this weekend against Tampa. But Barry just dominated the game from the very start. They had 7 shots in the first half, and they had 11 shots in the second half. And part of it was because they were a man up on us. They outshot us 18-5, 10-1 on shots on goal. George Roque had 9 saves in the match, so he was really put to the test during this game. Barry was actually coming off a game where they tied Flagler 2-2 on that Thursday or Friday as well. So I mean, both teams are going into the season with expectations of performing in their conferences. But Clayton State specifically was going into the expectation they were number 5 in the nation. They were a lead 8 team last year, losing to the eventual national championship champion Lynn. And anyone will tell you that Lynn, uh, if Clayton State would have beat Lynn, they would have been on to McKendree and then go on to the national championship. And they could have beat Lynn that game. Very, very, very good game by the Lakers on that one, especially defensively. Coach Peterson is really going to look for this team this year to be a little bit more defensive oriented. They don't have their All Americans scores, Alexi Teria and Alex Rodriguez. Alexi is now playing professionally in Uruguay in the first league, amateur league, and then Alex Rodriguez is now playing for Missouri State. Um, so this Lakers team is going to look a little bit different than they were last year.
and yeah, speaking of that, the third game where they were successful. walked away with a win, their first win. So, a 3-0 against Converse. So, and Emmanuel was able to. They scored 3 goals, and I think the highlight for me was definitely when Emmanuel Alerte um, was assisted,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the goal went to Mario.
Joao
Yeah.
Amaral.
Mhm.
Yeah. Joao Amaral is a transfer from Quincy University. That's where George Roque came from as well. And if you remember, Jaden, this is the game, and this was the rematch of the round of 32 game
Mhm.
last year, where the Lakers scored with 15 seconds left in the
Yeah.
game in the match, and they went to a shootout, and David Magala, um, rest in peace, David, made the key save in that shootout victory, and then all heck broke loose, I guess, at the end of the game
Yeah.
where there was a fight between the Lakers and the Valkyries, and it sidelined a couple of people for the rest of the NCAA tournament. But I was looking for the Lakers to bounce back. Converse dropped their first game of the season as well, so Clayton State with is now back earning their first win of the season. Camilo Velez um, scored a goal off of a really nice cross by Andre Jimenez, and then Velez assisted La Chica on a header. Gonzalo La Chica, that is, and then Emmanuel Arte getting a free kick cross in from Velez to finish for that goal. A little bit of a shot discrepancy over Converse, 12-9, but Clayton State put four on net and scored three of them. So that's a 75% shot percentage on goals on net. So very, very good effort by the Lakers over the Valkyries. And then Jaden, let's talk a little bit about Tampa here. Tampa, very, very strong side. They're number seven in the country. They actually play North Georgia tonight.
Mm.
North Georgia coming off a loss against Young Harris. North Georgia coming in to play as the number 13th ranked team in the country. They are the only team in the PBC that is ranked. So Clayton State was preseason number five. They dropped out because they had the 1-1-1
Okay.
set, and now they have to host Tampa. But Tampa, very strong side. We Clayton State played them last year. Um, didn't do so hot down in Florida, so they're looking to bounce back a little bit.
And we haven't beat Tampa since 2019,
Yeah, in Tampa.
and
That-
at home, at their home. So this is a very important game, especially for us because it's at home for us.
right.
It's at Laker Field. So
hmm
it would be very important if we were able to cut out that deficit and walk away with the win.
Yeah, Tampa's a strong side. And I'm looking up a little bit of something about their team.
Because
They've scored 5 goals in 2 games. They've had 21 shots. They beat a really good West Florida side, 3-1, and they also beat Auburn Montgomery, which is 21st in the country, 2-1. So they've outscored 5-2, and I mean they're a very strong side, and we're looking forward to the matchup here. But playing at Laker Field, man, I mean playing at Laker Field's a different place to play.
yeah,
It's the Lakers have been really successful. They were very successful last year, going 6-1-2, and in fact, before that home loss, they were 6-0-2, and the women were also undefeated at home, mostly during the season. So we'll get into the women here in a bit, but the Lakers have really protected their home field, going 6-1-2 last year, and they went a perfect 9-0 back in 2023, including um, conference wins over Flagler, North Georgia, and Young Harris. Young Harris has always been a good side for a very, very long time.
and speaking of the women, before we get into that, we like to say, congratulations to our junior Ruby Kelly, you know, winning Player of the Week. So yeah,
Yeah, Ruby's one of those players that you should look out for. She made 11 saves in 2 games, and normally, and when you see 11 saves in 9 games, 2 games, excuse me, you're thinking, okay, the defense must be giving up a lot of shots and goals. Well, Rollins is a hard side.
Yeah.
The Lakers have played Rollins for the last couple seasons, and it's been a very even series against them. For the most part, it's the Lakers, of course, are 1-2-2 against them, dating back to 2004. But since 2022, the Lakers have played Rollins every single year, and it's a 0-2-2 result, tying them last year 1-1, and tying them in Winter Park in 2023 1-1 as well.
Mhm.
Um, but Rollins is well coached. They have a, a girl that scored a hat trick. Emma McMurray scored a hat trick against Clayton State. They outshot us 20-2, 8-0 in the first half, and 12-2 in the second. And one of the goals was one of the shots.
Yep.
And we're so used to seeing this Laker team put a lot on net last year with Amaya Sprunger Hightower and Carrie Consolino, which Consolino is now on Flagler. Um, she's thriving there. But you also have a really brand new team
Yeah.
this year. You got about 13 newcomers. And first year head coach, Coach Clark, and I know Coach Clark was on your podcast, Jaden.
Yeah, and we had a good talk, and he talked about building a great reputation and having them get them close together, and it's really I mean and this first game showed that of course there's always improvement and there's always place to work, but it showed that they can work together even despite not coming home with the win. It showed that they can work together, and it was very back and forth, and the Lakers put up a good effort. So it was good to know that what he was saying, has come true in the later light. So,
Yeah, and then kind of going back to the Rollins game, in the 47th minute, Eva Martin transfer from Georgia State, native of Flowery Branch, Georgia, scored that one goal
yeah,
for us. Um, he scored on a penalty kick.
yeah,
So, I mean, that was one of the two shots. The other person who had a shot in that game
Coliseum.
was Hannah Karlsson, a sophomore from Denmark. So, and she's not even a she's a defender. She's a
Mhm.
defender. She was one of only a
A
couple
great
layers.
defender as
Yeah,
well. She's definitely improved from freshman year, and
yeah.
it's been showing with how she's becoming a leader on the team, as you can see. So definitely a great spot she's in right now.
Yeah, and I mean the Lakers have these first two games have gone with a two goalkeeper set too.
Yeah,
Ruby Kelly has started in the first half and all the games, and then junior transfer
Claire Smith.
Claire Smith comes in and makes a couple saves, but she gave up a couple goals as well. Um, but I mean this team is looking up. A lot of new faces. A lot of players that a lot of them didn't really play much in the preseason. Sana Jacobson was hurt,
Yep.
and then you had a couple others that were kind of banged up as well. But I'm looking at this starting lineup, and only 1, 2 players from last year's team started. Amaya Springer Hightower, the senior from Westfield in Indiana,
Hmm.
and Lily Goldsmith, the McDonough native.
Yep.
So a lot of new players. You got a Doria Sanders, who's from Young Harris. Layla Ortiz Nolan, which is a junior college transfer, but she played at Florida Memorial, most notably Anaya Vargas, Emily Torres, freshman. Reagan Miller played with Madeline Stark at Milo State. Eva Martin, we talked about her. Ruby Kelly from UT. I'm sorry, UT Chattanooga is Claire Smith. Ruby Kelly played at Troy
Yeah.
in Daytona State. So a lot of new faces on this team, and Coach Clark is doing a wonderful job. He used to be the interim head coach at the Houston Dash, for heaven's sakes. He knows how to build a program. He calls himself the master coach. And yeah, so that's I'm excited for this team moving forward, and it
And
brings us to the Barry game.
And speaking of master coach, he there had to be something he said for Nia Vargas to come out of nowhere and basically lead the team to victory with a 2-0 victory. She scored two goals. She scored the goals to shut out the game, and she did very good. And it was a great team effort, and it it showed that, like I said, like he said, they can work together and build a steady pace. And and even starting off earlier the game, the offensive pressure was there. They walked in there with a purpose, and they left with the victory.
Yeah, for the first 10 minutes, Sana Jacobson. Maya Springer Hightower and Adoria Sanders all had shots,
Mhm.
and then ranking, and then it was mostly Barry after that. Barry is head coach by Coach Curtis, which was the head coach at USC Buford as well, when they first started in the Peach Belt a couple of years ago. So he's familiar with the Lakers and what they bring to the table. But yeah, Anaya Vargas really picked it up for the Lakers in the second game. Scored a goal at the 52nd minute, and then again at the 75th, kind of nailing it down. Um, she's one of the most impactful players that Coach Clark has really talked about this year being an impact player. In fact, she actually was highlighted with the forwards, newcomers.
Mhm.
So looking forward to their game on Friday or today as this comes out. They play a West Alabama side at 6 p.m. Eastern time. It is live on Flow Sports, so you do have to pay for the game, unfortunately. But coming off a team that allowed has not scored a goal on us
Yeah.
in 3 matches. We outscore them. Clayton State outscores them rather 6-0. Dating back to 2011, but for the last 2 years, 3 years, including this year, the Lakers have played West Alabama 1-0, 1-0.
Yeah.
It was that game in 2011 that was 4-0.
But do you find it to be do you think it'd be a little interesting to see with how this new team is gonna be able to stop them? Because, with new players, it's a new environment. So, what the Lakers were accustomed to, they can meet something totally different at, this game coming up.
Yeah, and then last year the goal was scored in the first minute, 53 seconds in the game. So and Clayton um, outshot West Alabama 18-4 in that game, and they only scratched across one goal. That was at Laker Field last year on September 13th, 2024. There was about 4 yellow cards in that game. The Tigers made 6 saves. Clayton State made two. Trinity Chastain was in net, I believe, for that game as well. Yeah, she was in that, and she pitched a shutout. But just looking at that team last year, there was only two players that are on this year's team, Maya Springer Hightower and Hannah Carlson,
Mhm.
that played against them last year. So a lot of inexperience against this team. West Alabama is 2-0 on the season. They beat Kentucky Wesleyan and they beat University of Illinois at Springfield. They have not surrendered a goal all year. They've outscored opponents 3-0. But this Lakers side proves that they can put pressure on the ball and they can also do it in net as well. Ruby Kelly, like you said, being the goalkeeper of the week, making 11 saves in 2 games.
Yeah. Definitely looking out for because he's gonna have her hands full with this team if they wanna keep them from not scoring a goal and keep the reputation alive.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see what Coach Clark does with the goalkeeping situation because the first 2 games he's gone with a two goalkeeper system. In the first half, it would have been Ruby, and in the second half, it would be Claire. So I'm assuming that he may do the same thing, kind of get him oriented a little bit. But I'm interested to see after a full week of practice, coming off their Florida games, what they would have for this West Alabama side that is pretty stout
Yeah.
defensively.
I like it. Honestly, me personally, I like it. It's very confusing to the other team, to be honest, because you think you've got that person down, you think you read them well, then you come up with somebody new. You got to try to find a whole nother rhythm again. I like it though.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a fun one on, Friday, and then they open at home on Tuesday against Anderson, and Anderson, has gotten their number a little bit over the years, so we'll see how everything goes with that. But we're gonna transition to one of the other fall sports that we have at Clayton State. Our men's and women's cross country teams open at the University of North Georgia XC Classic.
Mhm.
Um, Friday night, the men race at 5:45, the women race at 6:30. That is in the Gainesville campus in Oakwood, Georgia. Um, coming off good seasons last year.
Yeah, we know we had the women who finished seventh in the conference for conference championships. So very both, I mean, Lakers women, of course, the Lakers women cross country team had a solid season, and we it's gonna be interesting to see because we got now a lot of new faces as well.
Yeah, a lot of new faces, especially the freshmen, especially more of the youth.
Hmm.
You got Melina Castillo, and then we got Jada Warren back that who transferred from Georgia College the last year.
Hmm.
And you got Williamson as well coming back uh, for her freshman season. But Coach Hickam is really going to look at Marley Tate, Ivory Smith, and that returning crew, Calkin and Hawkins, to really push it this year. They didn't have the result that they really wanted to have at the PBC, seventh place out of those 10 schools. Not where he wants to have it, but he's looking because he got Jada Warren back because Jada led the team in all 10 races,
Hmm.
ran within her first 2 years. She actually won the Brickyard Invitational last year, hosted by Georgia Military College, in her hometown, her sophomore year, and then transferred back to Georgia College and only ran one race last year. But she's really looking to come back her strong her senior year, and then of course Marley Tate coming back as one of the leaders of the team last year, and Ivory Smith, both top three runners on the team
Yeah,
last year.
a lot of senior leadership, a lot of senior, and which would be good for them as well because they've been through it, they know what to look out for, and they're impact runners, for this season. So it's good to have more than at least one senior to look up to and
Mhm.
to know what to work on going in. But we'll get into the men now. They on the men's side, they're led by a lot of good leaders as well. You have Cameron Gaddis, Team Barnes, not
Nehemiah Horton.
Nehemiah Horton and Emmanuel Dixon. So, and they led all six races, and they saw their season best. Come at 26:11.
Yeah, that Gaddis dazzles me in track and field in the mile. I'm sorry, the 1500 and the 800. But last year, Cameron had a really good breakout season with cross country. He did lead, like Jaden said, he did lead the team finishing um, in a time of 26:11.9 at the Royals XC Challenge. A lot of those guys made personal bests at that specific race as well. And Cameron Gaddis also broke into the top 25 last year at that same meet. He is now 13th all time, the 13th fastest run, and then the fastest really since 2010, where Fidelius Motiso ran 25:07.5 at the same meet,
Hmm.
and then kind of looking at where he was on the 10K because Jaden, the men did run in 10K last year. They ran at the regional championship. They actually brought a team down there, the regional championship, and finished 66th place overall, which is the best finish they've had um, since 2016. Ryan Polk finished 68, but Cameron is now the 11th fastest runner in that specific distance. So Cameron has really turned it on going into his senior year. But you talked about Raheem Barnes, and you talk about Nehemiah Horton, and then you talk about the youngins of like Emmanuel Dixon, James Morrow,
Hmm.
all those. Cameron, Raheem, those guys, and Ivory included, came in that 4 years ago.
Yeah.
They were freshmen, and this Laker cross country team 4 years ago was a bunch of freshmen, and there was two upperclassmen, Daryl Jefferson and James Kilgore, that really took these guys out on the wing. And I mean, I'm telling you, at their media day 4 years ago, I told them, "Man, you guys are going to lead this team. You guys are going to lead this team your senior year." I mean, add Terry Mitchner to this.
Hmm.
Um, they have been here since the very beginning. This was Coach Mike Mead's last recruiting class before he retired as well. Man, Michael Strickland too. I talked to Michael earlier today, and Michael is really, really focused and ready to go for this meet. Um, Coach Hookham thinks that the Lakers can win this meet on the men's side. Um, he's expecting the women to have a good outcome as well. So they're really looking to build upon that. And I mean, Jaden, I mean, the coaches took notice of this men's team and picked them to finish fourth, only behind Giants, Augusta, Flagler, and then the up and running Georgia College. Let's talk about Georgia College really quick.
Okay.
Georgia College, very good side.
Hmm.
They finished in the top five last week's Converse opener. That's their main competition this year is Georgia College. I believe that Troy, Coach Hickam, thinks that the men's and women's team can really go above and beyond Georgia College and maybe hit that Augusta Flagler level. But Augusta Flagler has some studs out there, especially on the women's side and the men's side.
Mhm.
Um, Augusta being in Augusta, Georgia, and Flagler being in St. Augustine. We turn out great distance performances during the track season. Avery Janes over in Augusta, who is going to be in his senior year this year, finished in the top. He finished as an All American in the longest race of the outdoor season, the 10K, um, at last year's outdoor championships. But this team coming back is full of just senior leadership, leadership in general, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they do at the UNG
Yeah. And
Pepsi Classic.
and definitely I agree, the senior leadership and then we have, the upcoming freshmen and sophomores. The team is definitely in good hands and I agree with Coach Troy. He has all right to think that they have a chance of walking away with the win because there's been a lot of improvement from of course our leadership, our seniors, and there's been a lot of improvement from of course, Emmanuel Dixon, you know, Mikhail. There's been a lot of improvement from the up and coming, juniors and sophomores. So
Yeah, yeah, Jaden. I mean, looking at this list of women and men that are running, I mean, Jada Warren just really sticks out to me, and then Cameron Gaddis on the
yeah.
men's side. I'm looking for those guys to run fast meets. Jada Warren specifically has run just out of her mind the first 2 years that she was here as a freshman and sophomore, and on that team as well, there was quite a few newcomers to that team.
Mhm.
But Jada Warren. Um, Owns the 13th fastest time in program history, going 19 minutes and 13 seconds at the PBC Championships. She did it back in 2023, finished 23rd overall, and then um, we also have Story Alexander, which she left this year. This was her last year, but she had quite a good leadership leadership as well. So looking to see who is going to step up and lead this Laker cross country team going into play.
Yeah, definitely. We got the week to witness it and figure out what's going to happen and figure out the placing. I think Clayton State, the athletic department in general, is in good hands because we've made a lot of good moves. We got, of course, our women's soccer. We got Ricky Clark, who's a outstanding coach, and we
Hmm.
have our men's led by Pete. Great force, and gonna keep the men straight as long as they keep him straight too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
great way to balance, and I'm really excited to see how far this goes.
yeah.
And we have our men's soccer game here on Saturday at Laker Field against Tampa. So gonna
11 a.m. Kickoff. So have some coffee and donuts with us at Laker Field.
yeah. So that's gonna be all for us. It's been great starting this back up. I look to do more, of course, especially with you, Sam. So thank you.
Hmm.
And this is gonna be good. So we will be back, what, next Thursday, right?
Yeah, next week we'll come out. We'll talk about the men playing their first conference game at USC Aiken, and then they host Flagler College on that Saturday for Soccer in the Streets Day. But that day specifically is going to be a special day because David Magala and his family will be honored pregame as well. And on the women's side, um, Coach uh, Coach Clark has got to go to Georgia College on the 20th, and then they host Anderson for their first game on youth night at on the 16th at 6 p.m. So very we're in full swing for soccer season, Jaden, and then cross country goes to Albany State next week as well.
Hmm.
Um, but then we'll also do some basketball as well.
Yep.
Basketball's
We know that's
almost
what
here.
we started off with for this podcast, basketball. So
Yeah.
it'll be exciting to talk about it some more.
Yeah, we'll talk about a little bit about track and field and where they
Yes.
and how they recap their season um and yeah, we're working on getting our floor redone in the lock right now. A lot of really good improvements going on here, and if I may, I can talk a little bit about some improvements. Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
we're redoing our gym floor. That's gonna be really nice to have. And then I'm not going to give away any spoilers because I want to do a we want to do a big reveal at the end, and then we're improving some of our outdoor soccer improvements as well. We got a new type of system camera that we'll do for our broadcast this year. So we're really, really
That would be
excited
good
for
for
that.
me.
Yeah, Jaden's gonna be on the call on some of our soccer games this year, with the first one being. Let me pull this up.
But yeah, so but all this means though, with new changes, all it means is you gotta come down here at Clayton State University, Laker Field, the lock, see what we got planned for you guys. So, it's been a lot of improvements. So
Yeah, Jaden will be on the call on Saturday, September 27th, as both the men and women play Lander at 1 and 3:30 for Alumni Day. So it's going to be a great day. Um, Jaden, thanks for having me. Um, and I look forward to doing more of this as the season goes along, and then talk about Laker athletics. Maybe getting a couple student athletes and coaches on this podcast as well, getting their perspectives. And I'm more than happy to like step aside and let them and
yeah.
let you talk to them and
Mhm.
get your specialty. But maybe getting some broadcasters on this as well.
Yeah, yeah, it would be nice to do. So, but all in due time, and I plan on doing it. I plan on making this the best thing as ever. So I'm excited. You're excited. We all we gotta do is get to work. So thank you guys again for joining J Talk Sports. We've been here long enough, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, and then we'll have this posted for you in due time.
Lock in, people. Lock in.